you know, kids that are laying in the hospital bed right now that don't, you know, have anything to really hold on to. Like they're going through it, and there's sick people, and there's people that are missing limbs, and just not even minor things, but just little stuff like that that you don't really think about on a day-to-day basis. And somebody was just like, "Yo, aren't you lucky? You have family, you have people that love you, you have a roof over your head, you eat every single day, you know what I'm saying? You have the ability to fix your problems. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't have that ability. So it's just about stepping back and just looking at the brighter side of things. And that's what this project was about. Yeah. What's going on?
How you feeling, man? I'm doing all right. How you been?
I've been good, man. Been good, man. Can't complain.
Been chilling. All right, but so I just want to get right into it, man. Just jump right into the questions and whatnot. I know you're a Toronto artist and got your start in Toronto. Can you give us some insight as to what it was like growing up in Toronto and how you got your start in music?
Well, growing up in Toronto, um, a lot of people know this, a lot of people don't know this. Toronto's a melting pot of cultures, right? So when you're out here, you're exposed to different type of cultures, foods, music. So, I think that kind of helped along in my music journey. But how I originally got started was pretty much just growing up in the house. So we had a lot of music playing. You know what I'm saying? We had gospel music. We had my sister would always play Destiny's Child, uh, Jodeci. You know what I'm saying? Like all 90s music. You know what I'm saying? So I used to grow up listening to that and just, follow my sister everywhere she went. Especially when it came to like music lessons, you know what I'm saying? Piano lessons, vocal lessons. I would just sit there and watch and, you know what I'm saying? And just follow along with it. And then eventually my mom put me in a church choir as the lead singer. And, from there, I kind of just understood melodies and chords and took that. And then I was introduced to rap, you know what I'm saying, at an early age. Ludacris, Kanye West, so from there, I kind of just put the pieces together and, created who I am today.
And I know you're also an independent artist. I always ask every independent artist that comes on, what are like the pros and cons, the benefits and the challenges of being independent?
Um, it's tough, man. It's tough. I was just talking to my manager the other day about exactly that, the pros and cons of being independent. And there's a lot of debate going on around the topic about, a lot of people are very pro independence and, against majors. But I would just say, like, I think that's based on your journey. You know what I'm saying? Independence is not for everybody. Um, you got to have a lot of money to fund yourself, you know what I'm saying, as an independent artist. There are pros to being signed to a label, that have the machines and the resources to back you, put, gasoline on the fire to really blow your brand up a little bit more. So for me, it's been hard, you know what I'm saying? It's been hard. It's been a lot of ups and downs. Am I totally against, major labels? Nah. Um, am I more so for a partnership? Yeah. So I just feel like for me, independence was a learning curve, and now we're just at the point in my career where it's kind of just finding the right deals and finding the right situations or partners to make it, expand the brand.
Right now, I was just about to ask you about if that opportunity presented itself with a major label, or as you mentioned, a partnership, what exactly would that have to look like for you to be able to sign on to something like that?
Um, it would have to make sense, you know what I'm saying? It would have to be fair, you know. And yeah, it would definitely have to be more of a partnership than it is just me signing exclusively to them. You know what I'm saying? Um, the split's got to be right. I think that's the most important part. And, just owning your masters. And I understand it's easier said than done because when you're an artist on the come up, you don't really have, that much bargaining chips. You know what I'm saying? So it's really about putting yourself in a position while independent that when you do sit at these round tables, you have the chips in your corner to be like, you know what, I see how this deal is structured, but let's change this and let's add this here and let's make the splits, more of this than it is that, and just make it a more favorable deal for you. So that, that's what I'd be looking for any like upcoming situations.
For sure, and I get that a lot. Just talking to artists who are independent like yourself, as far as just having ownership over their catalog and doing those things right. And as you mentioned, it can be hard for somebody who doesn't really have that much, clout in the game yet, or let's say leeway in the game for them to be able to ask for certain things. But I guess that kind of
Yeah.
feeds, in a lot of ways, maybe feeds your hunger a bit to want to make it as an independent, or so you can have that leeway in those negotiation tables and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of why I started my own label, above all slash look above, because I did have these conversations in the process of like getting to where I am today. I sat down with a lot of labels, a lot of A&Rs, and it was just a lot of deals that didn't make sense. One, two, there was just a lot of broken promises and a lot of people saying things and never following up with it. So I just felt like me and my team wanted to take the power into our own hands and start our own little thing. And what I'm saying, just build it out from there. I really looked up to like Jay-Z and what he did with Rockefeller, and how nobody really wanted him, and they didn't get the vision. So he built his own entity and grew it to what it is today. So I think that's kind of the blueprint I'm trying to follow. No pun intended.
This is another year around the sun. Only a stretch, I'm going on a run. This was established back in 91. Lucky I made it out of where I was. I had to circle back to where I'm from. Then I go talk about it over drums. I ain't been outside for some months. I pop out, don't try to stun. I stun on that bitch. Used to want cereal back as a kid. Now I want Lucky Charms along the wrist. Shit looking icy. So I slid, caught in the moment, it is what it is. Done with the capping, done with the gimmicks. I'm done with the politics, done with that shit. I'm done with that.
So you do a lot of things as far as music, singing, songwriting, rapping, producing. You do a lot of things. Very versatile with the creative process. What would you say is your favorite aspect of the creative process when making music?
I think it's when that first spark of inspiration happens, when you first get that idea for a song. You know what I'm saying? If it's me hearing the beat or if I'm making the beat myself, and then those melodies start popping up and those ideas start flowing. Because usually when the ideas start flowing, you don't really know what it is yet. You know what I'm saying? It's just random words and just random melodies popping in your head, and you're just trying to catch whatever it is that's being thrown at you. So I just feel like it's that first initial go around where, I get on the microphone and I start doing what we call scratch demos, which is just mumbling where there's no real words to it, but you're capturing the feeling and the vibe. And I feel like that is the moment where it's like, okay, this could be interesting. Sometimes it doesn't really even pan out on the first go around. It's just like, I hear this, I'm not really feeling it too much, but let me put this down and come back to it maybe, tomorrow or in a couple hours. And then you go back to it and then something starts clicking. And then, what I'm saying? And you kind of know it's about to be something. So I feel like that's my favorite part of the creation process.
Sure. On top of being a songwriter and a producer and a singer, you also are involved in directing, being a creative director and directing your own visuals. What are some projects, for those who don't know, that you've been involved in directing, and how far do you want to take that aspect of your artistry?
Um, I wouldn't say I've done too much outside of me. I'm using myself as the guinea pig and really just trying to, what I'm saying, like figure out um how to properly do stuff, and just the trial and error. I'm just using it with myself. But like my video Rendezvous, that was directed by me and my boy Wancho. We did that. We did Would You Like a Heart? We just recently released that. We shot that myself. But like realistically, I just have all these ideas. Every video that I've done so far, I've had a hand in it. You know what I'm saying? If it's coming up with the treatment, um, or just, angles and, creative direction. I just been trying to, get a handle on that because I feel like it's very important for artists to, not not to say just do everybody's job, but what I'm saying, have some sort of voice in the creative process to get your ideas out. Because I think only you really know how you want something to look, sound, et cetera, et cetera. So I feel like, having the ability to take these jobs into your own hand is very important as an artist. So, that's kind of what I'm trying to do right now.
For sure, that's a good point. Do you have a particular visual or song that you worked on that you say you're most proud of or is your favorite? Nothing in particular.
Those questions are usually hard for me because, like, um, I'm a perfectionist. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking myself out of being a perfectionist, but I just feel like everything I watch could be better. You know what I'm saying? Like everything that I do could be better. So I don't really have a favorite yet. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that I watch and I'm just like, this is dope. This could be a lot better. So I wouldn't say I have a favorite right now.
Right. And that's the type of stuff, perfections could be a blessing and a curse. It's just kind of being too critical of yourself, but at the same time, it can also make you better in the future moving forward.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I say
for sure. It could definitely cripple you though. You know what I'm saying? It's a gift and a curse, but we're working on that.
For sure, most definitely. I was going to ask you more about your label. You mentioned your own label, Above All Collective. Tell me more about that. Is there artists? Is it just you and you kind of using it as a vessel to get your own music through there? Or are there other artists that you've already signed or plan on signing? Is this your first time starting your own business venture and whatnot?
I've always had my hands in, like, trying to start something musically, like a collective. But, back in the days, I wasn't really well versed on how the business side of things work. And, so I'd always start something and then it would end, for whatever reason. So I felt like I took the years, and thanks to my partner slash manager, Scott, for like really involving me in these phone conversations and these business emails and transactions so I can see the business side and how these things work and, certain lingos and conversations that happen and, certain languages that need to be, said. So, just sitting in those interviews and those meetings and stuff like that, it kind of helped me understand how to really navigate certain spaces. So now, for now, the label is solely focused on me, of course. I don't feel like I'm in a position to help other artists yet because I'm still kind of helping myself. So it's just about me getting my feet wet. Once the feet's wet and we establish certain things on our end, then we're going to pivot into, signing artists, producers, songwriters, directors, graphic designers. You know what I'm saying? It's just going to be multimedia. And, we want to pivot into films and, shows and whatever it is on the creative front. You know what I'm saying? We're just trying to expand this and do it the right way. Because I see a lot of groups and labels that are, that are doing it, but I don't feel like they're doing it to, we're doing it the right way. I just feel like there could be things that are changed and tweaked, to help push the culture forward a little bit. So that's kind of the mission for me right now.
What exactly would some of those things look like as far as tweaking?
Just deals. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of artists get robbed in the deals. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like when this is something you put your all into, you know what I'm saying? You spend countless hours, days and nights, blood, sweat, and tears trying to like push this brand of yours forward, and then just to lock yourself in a deal that is just not favorable for you. And then, now you can't feed your family because, this company is making majority of the money. Obviously, I do know the labels, you know what I'm saying, they have to be compensated for, putting the machine behind you. But I feel like there has to be some sort of fair compensation. I feel like the artists need to, eat. The artists definitely need to eat. It shouldn't be this hard for artists to see some sort of, money for their work. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to owning their own masters, that shouldn't even be a thing either. It's like, why should you own something that I've spent, you know what I'm saying, a lot of time, you know, and effort on, and you're just gonna come in and own it, you know what I'm saying? And then I gotta buy it back from you. You know what I'm saying? There's just too much. There's just a lot of things that could be tweaked. So, you know, that's the mission for me, to just try and figure this out and, you know, figure out a better business model and help the younger generation, you know, eat off of what they put out.
And in case you didn't know this, I've been all in, this was made for high rollers. And I pay homage to the ones that came before us. Above all, I'm giving you the message God told us. I done did the work and put this shit on my shoulders. I would die for it, lift the suicide doors up. Journey in the drive, tell me would you ride for us? 2 times over, 2 times. Who am I? This Gemini got 2 sides. What I say now, making my way on this side, making my way on this side.
I also heard on one of your prior interviews, shout out to the hip hop guru, but I heard one of your prior interviews that you had mentioned the Toronto scene and kind of, you know, how it's a lot of talented artists, it's a growing scene, but there's a lot of politics involved. Could you expand on that? And do you still feel that way about the politics existing in that type of scene? And if so, can you kind of elaborate more on what exactly it is?
I got in a lot of trouble for saying that. I got a lot of flack for saying that. But I mean, it just is what it is, man. Like, I feel like, you know, it's not just a Toronto thing. This could happen anywhere. Politics, you know what I'm saying? But I just feel like Toronto, as a city, just lacks community. You know what I'm saying? I think there's a lot of great artists out here. There's a lot of insane artists out there. There's a lot of insane producers, sound designers out here. And, you know, I just felt like if we came together as a community a little bit more, I feel like Toronto could be on the map as like one of those cities that are really pushing the culture forward when it comes to music. But I feel like there's too many different groups. And, you know, if you're not a part of this clique, we can't help you. You know what I'm saying? And if you are a part of this clique, we can't mess with you because of the politics that come behind it. Me, I stay clear of all that. You know, I don't associate myself to one specific group. I feel like I can work with any and everybody, and I want to work with any and everybody. So for me, that's just kind of where it's at. You know, is it gonna change? I just feel like it takes the right person to change the culture. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, shout out to Drake and OVO. You know, they're doing their thing, and Weeknd, EXO, they're doing their thing for the city and pushing the culture forward for the city. But I feel like a little bit more can happen if everybody just came together and really, you know, plugged in with each other. I really like look at like Atlanta and, you know, especially Atlanta. They're killing it right now, but there's community out there. You know what I'm saying? Of course, there's street politics and all this other stuff that go on out there, but there's not an interview that you watch where this artist will be like, yeah, you know, I was in the studio with Thug, you know, a couple of years ago, and I used to watch Thug work, and he used to let me in. And then this person is like, yeah, you know, Yachty and we were all here together, we all worked. And so it's just like, that community is what put Atlanta on the map. And I feel like if Toronto can just do that, we can pretty much echo that, you know,
right. And they always say about Atlanta, since you mentioned Atlanta, because I live near Atlanta, and a lot of the reason why so much success you've seen from Atlanta, like over the past couple of decades, really, is because they are so open to working with each other. So I love out here.
Yeah.
I think that can really help a city thrive when it's more than just a couple artists that have come out of a city that can thrive and really spread the love around, like you mentioned. For sure.
Yeah, exactly.
And what are some, I know you mentioned Drake and Weeknd, what are some Toronto, I guess, artists or projects from those artists that you hold in high regard that influence your creative process and how it shapes your approach to making an album or making a music?
This is no shade at all. Like, I don't really focus locally when it comes to stuff like that. Now, mind you, I do tap into I got my ears to the streets, and I'm listening to everybody that's out here and everybody that's doing their thing. So, um, and I super respect everybody that's doing their thing, and I would love to work with as much people from my city as possible. But when it comes to like shaping my sound, I look at people, I look at the greats. I only study the greats and how the greats move and what they do, and how they pivot from project to project, and what they change, what they keep the same. I really study those stuff to kind of, figure out if I can take, a bit of their recipe and add it to mine, and see if I, probably switch a couple things here and there and try to make my own formula. So, yeah, like Kanye West, Drake, uh, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, uh, James Fauntleroy. I even listen like James Blake, a guy named How to Dress Well. A lot of people probably don't know who that is. The Hicks, Sampha, Frank Ocean. Yeah, there's a big list of people that I really listen to and try to, see how they work and how they do certain things. Andre 3000, Lauryn Hill, Jay-Z, you know what I'm saying? So I really look at the greats to see, how they've been able to have longevity in this career for so long, and what they did and what they didn't do, you know what I'm saying? And try to use their formula with mine and create something for myself.
This feel like a drug, got you high off my love in your system. I know it's what you want, cause you got plenty in your system. Would you like a heart, cause I hit many, this is different. Gotta slow it down, I don't know how. Feel like it's been a while. Look how I got you sitting pretty when I come around. You know it's a situation when I come around. They say love can be the death of me, I know now.
I wanted to move on to your upcoming album, Aren't You Lucky? I want to talk about what was the inspiration behind the project and what can we expect to hear?
The inspiration behind the project was, my journey, stems, some years back, and there was a little part in my journey where I was kind of just like, I was really going through it mentally, you know what I'm saying? I was really, down on myself. I was really blocking my own blessings, you know what I'm saying? And I was really just unsure of, what I was doing or where I would want to take it. And I found myself complaining a lot, just really complaining and being a victim, you know what I'm saying? And throughout that, I had this conversation with somebody, and, they would just, every time I would complain, they'd be like, you need to show gratitude. You need to show a little bit more gratitude. You need to be a little bit more thankful for what you do have. And they're like, they would say like, yo, it may be bad for you, but it could be worse. There's, kids that are laying in the hospital bed right now that don't, have anything to really hold on to. Like they're going through it, and there's sick people, and there's people that are missing limbs, and, just little, not even minor things, but just little stuff like that, you don't really think about on a day-to-day basis. And, somebody was just like, yo, aren't you lucky? You have family, you have people that love you, you have a roof over your head, you eat every single day, you know what I'm saying? You have the ability to fix your problems. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't have that ability. So it's just about stepping back and just looking at the brighter side of things. And that's what this project was about. Now, when it comes to the sound of it, I think the sound varies. I like to base music off of life. You know what I'm saying? Life is just not based on one thing. You have your happy moments in life, you have your sad moments, you have the moments where you want to turn up, you want to party, you know what I'm saying? And you have those moments where you reflect. And I feel like the project and the sound reflects all of those. There's the high energy moments, there's the sad moments, and there's the reflective moments that all tie together. And, it just pretty much brings you to this point where I'm at now in my life. So I just like to treat every project as, checking points of just where I'm at mentally and physically. So.
And I like your new single, I Language, as well, off the album. And on Instagram, I saw that you had said regarding the song. You said, quote, "This is a reflection of the sink or swim generation we're living in. The world may seem overwhelming at times, but we can't forget the power of visual communication. Language is about understanding the language we see and the impact it has on our lives." Can you expand on when you talk about the power of visual communication and the sink or swim generation? Can you elaborate more on that?
Pretty much it's just like everything is so visual based, right? Like even if you go on social media, everything is a video. You know what I'm saying? We're always watching something. We're staring at something 24/7. So gone are the days of like radio where you would get your information from radio and news. You know what I'm saying? You would have to listen. But now everything is so visual. It's just a monkey see, monkey do era. So pretty much what I was just trying to say was that, like, look, man, if you look around you, the world's burning. It's no question about it. The world's burning. And it's just like, I don't even fear for us as much. I fear for the younger generation, the kids that are looking at us and being like, okay, we see what you're doing. I'm gonna follow that too. I'm gonna do that too. So I just feel like we just got to do a better job of, like, what we put out there, the energy we put out there, because it is being watched and it's being mimicked. And I just don't want to, put us in this motion that we can't stop. You know what I'm saying? When they say the damage has been done,
right.
I don't really want to get to the point where the damage has been done. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, there's hope for the younger generation, as long as we do our part. And we change certain things. And it's just like, even for example, the John Morant situation, and not to really speak on a situation like that, but it's just like, you got to understand both sides of the story. You know what I'm saying? Like, John Morant is an idol, you know what I'm saying, to these kids. So I understand where, certain things can go wrong if you're showing the wrong things, because these kids look up to you and then they think that's okay. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, not to get too deep into that, but that's just kind of, the gist of what I'm trying to say is pretty much, we just got to do a better job of how we, give the blueprint to the younger generation.
For sure. And that's powerful, just how, like you say, visual communication and just what you put out there, the energy that people see and how that can influence people, especially younger minds, and they look up to these, people always say, I didn't sign up to be a role model, but whether you wanted to be or not, it kind of comes with the territory, especially when you have a large platform. So that's
exactly.
That's really dope how you're conscious of that and you're being aware of that through your music and what you put out there.
We just want the things that we dream about. Ask me how I feel about it. Curse on my generation. Everybody screaming out.
Appreciate you speaking with me, man. Is there a release date for the album yet? Where can people find it when it drops, so they'll know?
When it comes to that, there's no real release date. I just know that it's fast consumption. So like, people listen to one song and then, what I'm saying, they forget about it a week later. You know what I'm saying? So right now we're just rolling out the album song by song, and whenever we feel the timing is right, then we'll just package it together and just put it out for the people. But for right now, there's no real date. We're just rolling out the songs, and we're just gonna take it from there.
All right, but is there anything else we can look out for, whether that's business-wise or artistry-wise, outside of just the album, or that's pretty much all we're looking forward to right now?
I'm working on, more music. You know what I'm saying? Once the project drops, I'm gonna be back with more and more and more music and more visuals. And, I'm just trying to keep the train going and just trying to keep this thing running. You know what I'm saying?
All right, man. Yes, sir. Appreciate you joining me, man. Thanks for all the input, asking my questions, sharing time with me, and good luck to you in the future.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you.